Welcome to a late IHP show where we get to talk about 5D mystic stories with me, Maria. And it's all tonight about our emotionally immature people. They will not all become mature. We've been talking about this, and that's because in an effort to support anybody who's new, some people, they didn't get to begin life with secure attachment, and in fact, actually to honor good educational podcasts. I'm an educational entertainer. So I give you the woo-woo pseudoscience stuff. Plus I do self-help with spiritual toolkit because I'm a Reiki master, Akashic record reader, a tarot card reader. I'm a channeler, okay? So I integrate a bunch of different stories from my oversoul. And that's where I do love that I'm attachment trauma educated, which has helped me to understand the ones who will be here are the ones who can be their self. So again, they are choosing after having claimed their sense of self. Okay, so integration is very important. And with that being said, today I wanted to honor, so we honored Terry Rio, Gabor Mate, we honored Patrick Tian, we've honored Dr. Daniel Fox, men in particular, Bessel van der Kolk, Dr. Daniel Siegel, the ones who are real fathers, real men that know about the embodied brain, and therefore they know that why your CPTSD isn't getting better. Patrick Tan, he has a video he released just 5, 6, 7 hours ago, and he talks about the disturbances in self-organization are what separate standard PTSD from CPTSD. And then he mentions 3 elements, areas that are typically going to be involved in whatever's happening. The relationships, that's attachment, emotions, affect. Know all about it. I got a window welcome to mine. I got a secure attachment for my relationships category. I don't know the styles, although I do know a little bit about them, but I know more about the categories. Got one course with styles, and that's with Peter Levine and Diane Heller. The rest is with Dr. Daniel Siegel, who is on categories. And that's because all of my other courses, they use his IPNB framework, the categories, and again, they're 2 different research bodies. But anyways, sense of self, SOS. And so the sense of self, I am a self-agent. I own my sense of self. So that's the people who can be their self. The ones who still are working to self-organize and get to own their sense of self and to get an window welcome to emotions and affect and relationships to securely attached. That's why, again, Patrick Tian, why your CPTSD isn't getting better. That's why we will know that not all emotionally immature people, will become mature, especially because they'll follow someone who gives them a story, not the data. The pseudo-intellectuals, these are men and women. So one that I recently came across was when someone doesn't value you anymore. Yes, so like somebody used to value you, then they don't value you. So here's what happens when you don't own your sense of self, when you don't have secure attachment from your 0-1-year-old to your 3 to 7, and when you don't have a window welcome to your emotions, your affect, because you don't know how to regulate your nervous system in your ventral vagal state so that you can get into your prefrontal cortex, which is why a storyteller is a left-brainer. They haven't made relationship with their right, so they do structural dissociation, cognitive dissonance, and their karma wheelhouse. Again, it's not that their heart is different, no. And if you remember today's episodes, I told you my body, I do a lot of the different art labs. Okay, so I have a couple of sentences. I'll read them after though. Let me first read this. So being seen means that I'm valued. When instead I become invisible, this is where the person who is in fact not a emotionally, mentally, physically invincible human being says that because we're social creatures that becoming invisible erodes your confidence. Then he goes on to talk about how you'll figure out that you've given away stuff and he's blah, blah. He's using a mouth. That is for the ones who want a suffering pain point. And as I shared with you all today, unfortunately, emotionally immature people look up to other emotionally immature people because, well, one, you cannot heal trauma with the wrong people, so you want to stay away from the negative and stupid ones, the ones with low self-esteem and the ones with unhealthy self-soothing behaviors, drinking, drugs, fucking, and it's not like you have to discriminate, but you want to not look to think you're missing out on anything. The fact that they don't actually care about building a depth of a relationship with someone, man or woman, objectifying really. So when you see, again, young men looking up to pseudo-intellectuals, and I've seen this in person, I'm not even making fun of the YouTube people right now, and you explain to them what the embodied brain is, and these are intellectually intelligent, genuinely people, because they're actively with bachelor's, master's, PhDs, stuff like that. And you see how they say, no, but it's honorable. And you say, every person is our brother and sister, so of course we will honor and respect their chosen path. But please, as I try to again explain to you, you want to integrate your brain so that you can use the intelligent mind. And that means emotional maturity and become emotionally invincible with your 1-year-old so that you can continue to become that which you are, unless you don't want to and you want to stay a teenage version. So at that point, you got a person who's a storyteller who will like to hear the story. So their ears are not mesmerized by the sound. They want to stay within the life is suffering crowd. So they're afraid. That's why they're inconsistent. That's why they don't show up. That's why they're the fearful ones. That's why they're the cowards. Because they're going to continue to want to be unseen and unsoothed, because they were unseen, unsoothed, unsafe, and unsecure, to actually open up their heart and be vulnerable with anger, sadness, fear, disgust, surprise, and happiness. And they don't know how to self-regulate in their ventral vagal state, and now they won't learn because I can make them uncomfortable. And they choose a story over I'm uncomfortable and going to watch, for example, where's our lovely again, the Patrick Tiahan video I dropped right here. Relationships can destabilize. If I'm used to the shoe dropping, I need to get into an interaction with you. I'm playing my exile protector. It's a part of me. So there's healing to do. So it's just being able to know, okay, this is part of my story from my 0-8-year-old. So I'm wanting to bring it into the room. I got a toolkit, Patrick Chan, whenever it'll be out, I can work with the toolkit to journal and write, and then, okay, what's my replaced behavior? And really what you want to do is talk about it with the therapist or with the person. This is what happens. So when you're not hiding behind your shame, it's because you say, I am not ashamed of the unkindness that comes, because this unkindness comes from a reason called my childhood trauma. And if it's not the standard, again, it's this complex, which again, why your CPTSD isn't getting better. So he's building this toolkit. It'll be out at some point. And that sense of self. So he even explains this part. So I know self-agency. I have a sense of self. That's why I have the integrity and the virtue that I talked about. And I can tell a storyteller a mile away. Okay, so the other sentence that my lovely body with these their type art therapy class labs that I get to do, heart that lives in recognizing itself in one another. So my heart and your heart are the same. And mastering the dance of life is a party of love that takes flight into the skies with the truth of our inner child. And it's an inner functional adult child that gets to have a good time, okay? And that's where we know that candlelight illuminates damage beneath the feet with wave of lights. We've all walked, but that circumstances in the night can marry laughter and handsome and mirror an invasion of reflection of trust. So as long as you are healed and choosing to see not only source in others, but also that they are a heart, like your heart. Okay, so I create what I care for and I don't suffer. It means that I trust that I'm going to be able to be emotionally mature, even with those who are emotionally immature. I have plenty of them. So only a fool believes that success achieved alone is real. Thank you, John Amaichi. And again, you want to make sure to understand that no one is nonsensical to their self. So a person who puts on a pedestal an individual who is clearly not living the highlight of life is a person who's seeking to have a story for themselves because they suffer life. Those are the fearful ones. And their frequency is beneath the neutrality belt, and they think neutrality means you have no opinion versus not understanding what equanimity is, what discernment is, and what love is, which is what God is to me. And as a mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group and a functional child adult, this is the part of why an empowered feminine has her own empowered masculine, knows what Dharma is intuitively, and also what cosmic karmic balancing is, which is why intelligence always wins. So we don't need all people to choose to be their integrated brain, restored, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating self, and to actually share their amazing inner child with us. Is it a sad story? Yes. Does it mean we go? No, because again, they get to choose if they want to be their true self. You don't unlock their heart. That's very scary. They have to say, I want. And I know why I don't want. And the fact that I don't want wasn't a choice, was not. I got the short end of the stick. An unsafe environment that made my faith in humanity broken, my faith in love broken, my faith in myself broken, and I'm not defective, and I deserve love, and so do others. And I don't judge a book by its cover, because every person will have damage beneath their feet, even when they may seem as lucky as can be. The only individuals who go chiming in, by the way, on other people's existence are the same ones who you'll notice. I mean, that's why I don't make fun of it. And I talk about a bunch of people, make fun of them, but low self-esteem, unhealthy, self-soothing people. The insecure human being is busy looking at what others are doing and busy trying to use the word, they got lucky, they got this, they got that. If you're a person who knows how to walk a walk, 2 hands and 2 feet, you will simply know all people have a story, and I'm not going to tell them how they think or how they feel or how life is. This is why integrity is not about me telling you to be monoamory or polyamory, or to get married or not married, or to be a step parent or not a step parent, or the pronoun or not. So no, this is where integrity is me knowing how to be a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person who uses 2 sides of the brain and is an actual intelligent human being, and knows there's no Lucifer or demon. Again, mystic here, woo-woo pseudoscience. When you tell somebody about neuroscience and say, ha, 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 there's something to believe in, everybody needs something to believe in, I think that's hilarious. Like when somebody said that and they're in religious clothing and they're pointing at Sadhguru, and I'm like, what, do you think you're different? You do realize God is one. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. The fact that you don't notice how ridiculous it is that you have half a brain working. Because that's what I think when I see somebody actually who believes in God and points a finger at any one of our spirituality brothers and sisters and says, we believe, I believe I can fly, I believe I can touch. It's got neuroscience's data, okay? So although scientists, 97% of what is out there isn't available for them to know, which is why I've never seen a medium ever. They don't really know that. But I mean, going on to tell us the earth is flat, I mean, okay, keep looking into it. You're entertaining us. So when you care about what you create, you're going to have a holiday every day, and in relationships too. So again, let's just remember that everybody does have the capacity to have the objective and subjective reality of their own. And when in a relationship we have people who don't, we got emotionally immature people who are codependents, and they don't have the brain capacity. And I have the brain capacity to instead recalibrate. That means Maria is going to get into her ventral vagal state, look in my prefrontal cortex and see what I can do to create clear and fun, I don't know, just clear boundaries. It's not about decency. 3 years, I don't want to be the friend. As for those who I do have to repeat myself, it's very easy. And when people are actually in upset, I get very sad for them. But I keep it to myself at this point, because I've realized what the fearful ones do when you are picking up on their upset. Unfortunately, they don't want the support. They're not in favor of getting a hug. And that's why, again, Patrick Tan, love you, man. I honor today Patrick Tan, Terrio, Gabor Mate. They're real fathers, and they have supported and continue to support men to become real men and women and days by helping them to open up their hearts to healthy self-worth relationships, which are made of mystics and spiritual, mindful, living, loving people. Or simply put, those of us who know love is easy. You will have heard that story, because love doesn't get harder as you get older. If you're a securely attached, self-led, 5D human being, Christ consciousness, mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, it's called restorative embodiment, self-awareness, accountability, regulation skill. You get to deal with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds, unexpecteds from within with an open heart. while going with the flow. The basic inner growth mindset program is that, and there are main modules for free on the website. And then with the mindfulness and mindset skills, it's an in-depth masterclass when the time comes, and our workshops or cheats and all the spiritual toolkit stuff. So you know that. Anyways, like, share, and subscribe if you do like to be yourself mindfully with flaws and integrity. And if you love to love and live, laugh, learn, expand, and not cast stones above all. And you do know that, again, a heart that lives in recognizing itself in one another. And while we do know that everyone is source, not everyone will choose to become the piece of source that they are. And if they're in a lower frequency, like I said, as long as you're physically safe, mentally and emotionally, you can always be pacha and be able to share love, acceptance, and respects the other person, which will be great, because at least they will get the opportunity to feel seen, and you will be authentic because you don't bullshit them. Like my facade friend, he knows what I think about him all the time, because that's the other part. It's not like we lie to each other. So once you build a rapport, even with emotionally immature people, I have plenty of them again, it's good because you're not weighed down, since you know differentiation of the self. So you have a me and a we, and there you go. It's not draining. Only the ones who need to do more therapy, and then maybe if they ever want self-help, personal development, and they say, yes, integration, yes, resiliency, yes, restorative embodiment, ooh, I got 24 hours. I get to use my brain and my mind and myself and my body and my relationships to expand my tickle bone. And we do have all the emotions. It's just because of the ventral energy and the integration of the brain, you're very excited to be awake tomorrow. So 24 hours is what I got. And thanks for stopping by.